Hello. We are Enface team, and in this video we will take a look at the basic features of our computer vision program called Enface AI Platform. We will explain the basic principles of our system features functioning, and how to create connections that are necessary for business logic. On simple examples, we will show how our tools work, and how the computer vision system can be used to optimize many business tasks. Once you've logged into your personal account, you will find yourself in the statistics section. It has lots of blocks and all sorts of filters and settings. We won't dwell on it because this account is new and all the counters are set to 0 anyway. We tried to make the statistics as informative, flexible and convenient as possible to be used out of the box, so that you don't need any additional apps. Well, we have 3 related entities that are, nevertheless, completely different in its essence. Sources, which stands for data sources. Persons, which stands for lists of people. And actions, which is a history of all the performed operations. The view page of these entities is a kind of playground. This playground will help us see the platform's reaction to all the images that come in for processing. Now let's start with the basics. We will emulate the image flow from some source. To do this, let's enter the Actions section. This section lets you upload any image from our local drive, right in the browser. Each source has its own unique ID. The ID can be obtained by request.in. In order to set it, we switch between the elements of these 2 drop-down lists. The images uploaded from the hard disk will be processed according to the rules defined for these data sources. We can see that there is only one element in each of the drop-down lists. One of the lists has a single element called the default group and the other one has the default source. Now let's enter the Sources section. It's all simple here. There is an unlimited number of sources. Right now you can see only one of them, and groups where those sources are united. For example, a shopping center with a large number of stores. Each store has its own video cameras. Here our personal account is a shopping center, where the group is a store, and the sources in this group are all the cameras belonging to this store. There are endless examples, such as the city subway. The group is a subway station, and the sources are all the video cameras on that station. Or the group is a floor in a building, and the sources in the group are all the cameras on that floor. It's easy. According to the goals and tasks of your business logic, you will be able to create the grouping yourself. In case you don't need any complex interconnections, there is a default group which contains one single source in it. The default group and the default source cannot be deleted or renamed. A new source cannot be added to this group as well. In general, this group and this source are embedded in the system by default. Let's define our business logic to build a scheme of interactions between all the components of the platform and prepare data sources based on it. Let's say you own a store in a mall. This store has several video cameras, one at the entrance, one at the exit, one at the cashier, one in the internal area and several in the open space. You want your video surveillance system to first, to report if people from the blacklist are in your store and send a signal to the security console once they are detected. Second, to notify you personally if there are unauthorized people in the internal area. Third, to alert your employees on the arrival of those customers who have already made purchases in your store before. In fact, you want to implement a loyalty program for regular customers. By the way, international practice shows that such methods increase sales by 20 to 40%, since everyone is pleased when they are recognized. Fourth, for the list of your regular customers to grow and expand, you need to capture each new customer with the camera installed right next to the cashier, and to add them to your own loyalty list. If this is not the first time a person makes a purchase in your store, you need to increase the purchase counter to be able to rank regular customers. Fifth, to get statistics on the age of your visitors, whether it's women or men who come to your store more often and in what mood people leave your store. Let's start. We create a group that unites all of your cameras and call it Supershop. We add all your cameras to this source group. Entrance, exit, cashier, internal, open space 1, open space 2. We can define our own rules of processing the received data for each of the sources. We'll come back to this later. That's it, data sources are added. Let's move on to the Persons section. The structure of this section is very similar to the previous one. Images of people's faces are stored here, grouped into lists. The faces in the list can be added, deleted, moved from one list to another or replaced with a new one. We do not limit the number of lists in any of our tariffs. You can add faces to the lists from the web interface which you see on the screen now, or using our API. Just like in Sources, there is a default list for performing some simple educational actions. We won't focus on it, it's not of interest to us right now. We have prepared the folders with the necessary photos for this demonstration video in advance. Naturally, you'll have your own images. So you want your security to be notified if there is anyone from the blacklist on your territory. Let's create a blacklist and add unwanted people there. Let's call it Danger and enter it. Please note that one of the main advantages of our image processing is that we process all faces of the image simultaneously. Not just the biggest face, or the one that is located in the center of the image, but all of them. It's very useful in most cases and eliminates lots of pointless preparations. So we add photos of unwanted visitors to the list of persons. For each reference photo, we define age, gender, and ethnicity by default. By clicking on a block with a photo, the control panel with extended information and control elements for the person opens. Let's not dwell on it now, but continue to handle our task. The same we do for the list of photos of our staff, so that we can detect the arrival of an unwanted person to the internal area. We create the list, staff, enter it and add all of our employees there. In order to make a loyalty program, we need to create the final list to implement our business logic. Let's call the list Loyalty and leave it empty, since there are no customers' photos yet. Now we would like to stop and highlight several important details, which in many ways determine the quality of face detection and, therefore, your satisfaction with the results. First, the list of persons should not contain more than one copy of one unique person, and our platform will not allow you to add duplicates, it will simply skip them. Surely, you can trick the neural network with another photo of the same person, for the sake of fun. For example, by stretching his face in Photoshop or with an image of unacceptable quality. But the essence of the list of persons for all varieties of any business logic is to store one single face image of one person in the highest possible quality, with his face in the camera as direct and still as possible, with eyes open, no glasses, no covered spots of the face, etc. This image is called the reference image, and the search for matches will be made and compared exactly with this photo. Our neural networks are very good at matching a bad image to a good one, but none of the existing computer vision systems can qualitatively match a bad image to a bad one. Therefore, the higher the quality of the reference image, the less errors you will receive during further identification of a person. Getting back to our business task, we can see that the camera at the cashier, which creates the base of your regular customers, should be installed so that it will be directly facing the person whose face it captures. It should focus on a well-lit space and have a sufficient video stream resolution. The second point about the list of reference images is that they can be static, meaning that the images should be created manually and cannot be changed in the identification and verification process. The images can also be dynamic, i.e., uploaded automatically, according to the rules that you define. We assume you already guessed that the danger and staff lists here are static, and the loyalty list will be filled dynamically. Please note that the number of reference images in one list is limited only according to your tariff plan. Let's go back to the Sources section and start creating rules. The entire video face identification system should work according to these rules. So, let's say you want to inform security if someone from the blacklist has entered your store. We open the settings for the camera that is installed at the entrance and click on the icon for adding a new list for our search. By doing this, we define a rule that all persons coming from the entrance source will be matched with the danger list you just chose. Please note that you can search for matches in several lists simultaneously, and since you also want to notify your employees when regular customers show up in the store, the system will search for matches in the loyalty list as well as in the danger list at the same time. Please pay your attention to the fields called On Found Alerts and On Failed Alerts. We will use them to set up the notifications. For demonstration purposes, we will set up all notifications only to our Telegram. While under real conditions, when unwanted people are detected, the signal must be set up to the security console. If a regular customer shows up, then it should be the employee in the open space who has to be notified. On Found Alerts are notifications for each case when a person's image, that came from the source, matches the corresponding list. On Failed Alerts are those for each case when a person's image does not match the specified person's list. In our case, the notifications will be received in a pre-created chat on Telegram. You need to invite our bot at Enface Alerts bot into this chat and enter our Telegram ID in that field so that our bot knows where to send messages. Notification types can be very different, i.e. the notification of open doors and turnstiles, or of an email that was sent or of a signal to the security post. It can be done easily. So, we dial the name of our Telegram, and Paco. The same we do for the loyalty list and save the settings. When you will work on our platform yourself, essentially you will dial the administrator's or the seller's Telegram ID. In case no matches are found, we do the same thing with the internal source, where we specify a search list with your workers and turn on alerts. Let's move on to the most interesting part, settings of the camera installed next to the cashier, which is supposed to capture customers' faces and to add them to the loyalty list in case such a face has never existed in the list. We open the setting of the cashier source, then add the rule for the search in the loyalty list and define the rule for the dynamic person's creation. Then we select on no match in the drop-down list. We leave the rest of the parameters by default. The only thing left is to define the list for the new faces to be saved in it. In our case, we save new clients to the same list where we conduct the search, to the loyalty list. It means that all the faces coming in from the cashier camera will be matched with the loyalty list. If some faces are not found in this list, they will be added there, provided that certain conditions are met. Last but not least, the determination of gender, age and emotions of people leaving your store. It's quite simple here. We enter settings of the source called exit and put check marks in front of each definition of the features, age, gender, and mood. Feature detection is the processing of an image by a separate neural network in order to identify any attribute found on the image. You can see a list of features currently supported by our platform, such as age, gender, ethnicity, glasses, helmets, and several technical features applicable to other business tasks. We can see the light of the indicator turned on. This indicator identifies the feature of the faces received by the platform from this source. Let's check what we've got. We now move to the Actions Logs section, which at the moment is of more interest to us as a playground, to check our settings, in order to find out what happens when new data arrives from the selected sources. First, let's check the first point of our business logic. The system should report the presence of blacklisted people in your shop. In the selector we choose our group of sources and the particular camera entrance. Now, by clicking on the File action and selecting images with different faces, we will see how they are processed and which matches we will find in your lists of persons. We can see a wonderful lady just passed by, a family with a kid, another lady, children just ran by, another man passed. Hello dear, we were not expecting you. Tattoos will not help you, because our neural networks are trained to recognize faces with any accessories, glasses, beards, hats, in poor light and even at critical angles. The yaw angle can reach 70 degrees. You probably heard the sound of a new message in the Telegram chat. This was that very alert about the detected person from the danger list. It shows the source of the image and a photo of the person we identified. Let's have a look at the next visitors. And here comes another bad boy. wearing glasses, but we know perfectly well that it was you. Please notice the processing speed. It's something our engineers are very proud of. Our processing speed shows one of the fastest results in the entire facial recognition industry. So, we have completed the first task. The bad guys were recognized and the signal was instantly sent to the security console. Second, let's check the second point. You want to receive a notification every time an unwanted person shows up in the internal area of your store. We select the relevant source, internal, and emulate the incoming images of faces from this camera. This is your employee. This girl also works in your store. The guy decided to go to the warehouse and he has the right to get there. And then suddenly a child just showed up. He is not on the list of your employees. So Telegram also received a notification with his photo and the source where this data came from. Now you have something to say to the administrator. Let's consider the second point of your business logic to be fully completed. Third and fourth, your employees should be aware when regular customers show up and their list should be updated dynamically. Since the list of our customers is currently empty, let's check how the camera, installed at the cashier, reacts. We select the relevant source, cashier, and emulate the appearance of different people in its field of view. We can see a guy bought something. The girl bought something. Two friends came and bought something for themselves. A girl we already know just came. And, let's say, this girl has been in your store several times already. And the man whom we had seen with his friend, came with his girlfriend this time. So what do we have in the loyalty list? Here we have all people who would come to the cashier and would make purchases. If we open the person's control panel, we will see additional icons with additional functions here. One of the functions is to view the history of all matches of this reference image with people from the source. If we click here, we will see that the person came to your store only once. If we click on the girl, we will see that the girl was here 5 times in addition to initialization. Which means that in total she bought something from us 6 times. Let's also see if our system reacts to the appearance of these people at the entrance. We identified the girl. The manager in the hall received a message that he had a regular client. We have never seen this person, so nothing happens. A man came with his girlfriend. We know that these people have already bought something from you. This is how a loyalty list is built. And I believe that we have completely closed the third and fourth points of our business task. An attentive viewer will ask, why wasn't the first face of this person found? And why was there no match with his second appearance? The answer lies in the settings of the cashier source. We will not dive into these subtleties now. This will be explained in a separate video. Just remember that there are lots of more specific settings to improve the quality, to adapt to the room lighting, to the location of the cameras, to the corners, etc. Such detailed explanations are not included in this video not to overload you. So, the fifth requirement for a video surveillance system is that you want to determine gender, age, mood when they leave your store. To do this, we select the camera at the exit. We also select some photos straight away, and let's assume all these people ran quickly in front of the camera. Now let's move on to the summary section. Here we can see all the operations that were previously performed. Let's look at the mood of visitors. We can take a look from all cameras, or from one particular camera, or just at the exit. It does not differ, because we measured it only at the exit. We can see that the majority of your visitors leave the store being satisfied, which is a good indicator. That's all. A task that seemed very difficult was solved in a few minutes and tested in our playground. Just imagine how many combinations can be assembled in this simple constructor, and how many business processes can be simplified, optimized and improved using the Enface AI computer vision platform. In conclusion, I would like to draw your attention to the architectural peculiarity of the elements of our system. Just in the personal account alone, you can maintain and control all processes related to face recognition in huge enterprises and public places. You can find the link to our API documentation on the main page of our site or in the side menu of your personal account. Have a nice day.